What if XYZ Union monsters were in Magic the Gathering? This is going to be a little convoluted, but let's start things off with something simple, like Y Dragonhead, a level 4 light attribute machine union monster with 1500 attack and 1600 defense, and the effect, once per turn, you can either target one X head cannon you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip this card and special summon it. A monster equipped with this card gains 400 attack and defense. Also, if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. Union monsters are cards that have the ability to equip themselves to another monster you control to give them additional effects, usually being one-time protection by sacrificing themselves plus something else. Converting this card, it may become a 3-cost artifact creature, equipment, dragon construct with 1 white and 2 generic, with 3 attack and 3 toughness, and the effect, the equipped creature gets +1/+1. Sacrifice Y Dragonhead. As long as it's an artifact creature, regenerate equipped creature, reconfigure 2. Reconfigure is essentially the same as Union monsters, being both a creature that can attack or block, or an equipment, granting additional effects. The only difference being that you can equip or unequip the Reconfigure card as many times as you want, as long as you can afford the equip cost. Unlike Union monsters, only being able to equip or unequip themselves once per turn, Y Dragonhead grants +1/+1 to the equipped creature, as I would value every 500 stat points in Yu-Gi-Oh! To be equivalent to 1 stat point in Magic. He also grants the equipped creature Regenerate, since Regenerate prevents the permanent with the keyword from being destroyed from combat or card effects once per turn, so long as you pay the Regenerate cost, though it can only regenerate artifact creatures, since you can only equip this card to X Cannon Head, another machine monster. This card becomes a construct in addition to Dragon, since it's a war machine powered by mechanical means. It has a 3 converted mana cost. Since it has no effect while it's a creature, its reconfigure cost is 2, since it only gives +1/+1 on top of a one-time protection effect for only certain types of creatures. Y Dragonhead has a white cost, since white is the color that uses equipment the most, and because all of these monsters are light attribute machine monsters, which is notable since machine monsters would either be earth attribute generically or dark, since dark is the most common attribute in the game. Next card up is Z Meld, a level 4 light attribute machine union monster with 1500 attack and 1300 defense, and the effect, once per turn, you can either target one X Cannon Head or Y Dragonhead you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip this card and special summon it. A monster equipped with this card gains 600 attack and defense. Also, if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. If this card were in Magic, it would become a 3-cost artifact creature, equipment construct with 1 white and 2 generic, with 3 attack and 2 toughness, and the effect, the equipped creature gets +2/+2. Sacrifice Z Meld, as long as it's an artifact creature. Regenerate equipped creature. Reconfigure 3. It costs 3 generic, as it has average stats for a creature of that cost, and like Y Dragonhead, it has no effect while it's a creature. Its reconfigure cost is 3 generic, solely because of its substantial +2/+2 boost. The next card to be converted is X Cannon Head, a level 4 light attribute machine normal monster with 1800 attack and 1500 defense. With the flavor text, a monster with a mighty cannon barrel. It is able to integrate its attacks. It attacks in many ways by combining and separating with other monsters. If I convert this card, I would make it a 4-cost legendary artifact creature construct with 1 white and 3 generic, with 4 attack and 3 toughness, and the effect, if you both own and control X Head Cannon, equipped with 2 equipments with Reconfigure attached to it. Exile them, then return X Head Cannon to the battlefield, transformed. Activate only as a sorcery. The creature it transforms into is XYZ-Dragon Cannon, a level 8 light attribute machine fusion monster with 2800 attack and 2600 defense, with the fusion requirements X Head Cannon plus Y Dragon Head plus Z Meld Tank, and the effect must first be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. Cannot be special summoned from the graveyard. You can discard 1 card, then target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy that target. Fusion monsters are cards that can be summoned from the extra deck so long as you have the specified materials listed on the card and the appropriate fusion card, unless stated otherwise by the fusion monster you're trying to summon. Converting this card, it may become a 10 converted mana cost white legendary artifact creature construct with 7 attack and 6 toughness, and the effect 2 generic. Discard a card. Destroy target non-land permanent. Activate only as a sorcery. This card requires 2 generic mana, in addition to the discard effect, as this effect is not once per turn. Its destruction effect only targets non-land cards, as it would be a bit too punishing if it could destroy your opponent's mana pool. Even though I said every 500 stat points in Yugioh would be equivalent to 1 stat point in Magic, I would consider every 500 stat points in Yugioh to be equivalent to 2 stat points in Magic to maintain nominal values of 2500 and 3000. X Head Cannon transforms into XYZ-Dragon Cannon to imitate a fusion summon, as Magic doesn't have a sideboard of creatures you can summon at any time, as the level of consistency would break Magic overnight. Pumping the brakes a bit, the next card up is XYZ Hyper Cannon, a continuous trap card with the effect you must control XYZ-Dragon Cannon or a fusion monster that lists XYZ-Dragon Cannon as material to activate this card's effect. This card's effect depends on whose turn it is. Your turn, you can target one of your banished union monsters, place it on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, draw a card. Your opponent's turn, you can discard any number of cards, then target the same number of cards your opponent controls, destroy those cards. You can only use this effect of XYZ Hyper Cannon once per turn. If I convert this card into Magic, it would become a 4 generic cost artifact with the effect 1 blue, 1 generic. Put target face-up exile creature with Reconfigure on the bottom of your library, draw a card, and 1 black, XX, tap. Discard X amount of cards from your hand, destroy X amount of creatures, where X is the number of cards you've discarded this way. This card becomes an artifact since it has a tap ability to imitate a once per turn ability. It has a blue cost when it returns a creature to the bottom of your deck, since it draws you a card, with blue being the color that draws the most. It has a black XX cost to be a more expensive version of XYZ-Dragon Cannon, costing more mana and having a black cost, as it essentially makes any card in your hand into a murder. I limited the scope of what this card could destroy to not discourage you from making Dragon Cannon, as the effect is the only reason why you make that card. I didn't include the requirement of having a high cost artifact creature, as it would make using the card way too difficult. The next card to be converted is Union Hangar, a field spell card with the effect when this card is activated, you can add 1 light machine union monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if a light union monster is normal summoned or special summoned to your side of the field, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters. Equip 1 appropriate light machine union monster with a different name from your deck to that monster, but the union monster you equip cannot be special summoned this turn. You can only activate 1 Union Hangar once per turn. Converting this card into Magic, I would make it a 3 cost enchantment with 1 white and 2 generic, with the effect when Union Hangar enters the battlefield, search your library for a creature with Reconfigure. Whenever you cast a creature with Reconfigure, pay X generic to search your library for a creature with Reconfigure, put it onto the battlefield, attach it to a creature you control, then shuffle, where X is the creature's converted Reconfigure mana cost. This card becomes an enchantment as it mimics the passive effects of a field spell. It has a 3 converted mana cost, as this card only applies to a small pool of creatures with Reconfigure. You still have to pay the creature's Reconfigure cost, since you can equip any creature straight from your deck, albeit ignoring the color requirements of those creatures. It has a white cost, since it lets you equip equipments directly from your library. Next card up is W-Wing Catapult, a level 4 light attribute machine union monster with 1300 attack and 1500 defense. With the effect, once per turn, you can either target one V Tiger Jet you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip this card and special summon it. If the equipped monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. The equipped monster gains 400 attack and defense. Converting this card, it will be an exact copy of Y-Dragon Head's effect, with 1 white and 2 generic, with 2 attack and 3 toughness. And after talking about W-Wing Catapult, you should already know what card we're converting next, with V Tiger Jet, a level 4 light attribute machine normal monster with 1600 attack and 1800 defense. With the flavor text, this ace fighter is unbeatable in a dogfight. It combines with other monsters to launch an array of encircling attacks. Converting this card into magic, I would make it a 4-cost artifact creature cat construct with 1 white and 3 generic, with 3 attack and 4 toughness. And the effect is you both own and control V Tiger Jet and an artifact creature named W-Wing Catapult, exile them, then meld them into VW Tiger Catapult. Activate only as a sorcery. The keyword meld, letting you exile 2 specifically named creatures on the battlefield to summon the creature they meld into, as long as the exile cards are not tokens or copies, and the requirements to meld labeled on one of the 2 cards are met. VW Tiger Catapult, being a level 6 light attribute machine fusion monster with 2000 attack and 2100 defense, with the fusion requirements V Tiger Jet plus W-Wing Catapult, and the effect must first be special summoned from your extra deck. By banishing the above cards you control, you can discard 1 card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, change that target's battle position. Flip effects are not activated. Converting this card, it would become a 7 converted mana cost white artifact creature equipment cat construct with 4 attack and 5 toughness. And the effect, discard a card, tap a non-land permanent. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and trample. As long as it's a construct, it has 4 generic. Tap, exile 1 non-land permanent, reconfigure 5. Trample being that if the attacking creature is blocked, so long as it deals fatal damage to the blocking creatures, the excess damage is dealt to the defending player. VW Tiger Catapult taps another card, as it's the closest thing to swapping battle positions, though it taps any non-land permanent, since you're going through the work of melding it together. It grants trample, and the effect of exiling 1 non-land permanent, since VW XYZ-Dragon Catapult Cannon has the effect, once per turn, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, banish that target, and when this card declares an attack on an opponent's monster, you can target the attack target, change that attack target's battle position. Is a roundabout way of dealing combat damage through defending monsters. The reason why I bring this card up is that you can keep combining these cards even further beyond. However, instead of transforming this card and XYZ-Dragon Catapult Cannon into VW-XYZ-Dragon Catapult Cannon, this card has Reconfigure, since you can't keep transforming cards indefinitely in Magic, with attaching the card being the next best thing. That, and you're really not going to get rid of infinite tapping and destruction effects for trample and exiling 1 card per turn. Its reconfigure cost is high because of its powerful removal effect, though the restriction that only constructs can use this ability is to encourage you into attaching VW Tiger Catapult onto XYZ-Dragon Cannon, especially since it grants an additional 1 attack and toughness to boost XYZ-Dragon Catapult Cannon stats to what VW XYZ-Dragon Catapult Cannon stats would be. This was a long one. Way too much for one video. I'll probably be making another one sometime in the future. However, for now, if there's anything I should have changed or any ideas on cards I should convert next, please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, you should check out this one where I converted Yu-Gi-Oh's alternative win conditions into Magic the Gathering.
So kids, like what you're seeing? Samantha, I noticed your funometer is stuck in the middle. Why is that?
Well, the robots are cool, but how are all their disparate technologies able to even connect to each other?
Doesn't understand robots.